as you can tell by all the flags in this lovely photo, this is currently happening in Palestine. This is happening in Palestine as we speak. Right? They claim there's a genocide, but this is happening in... Oh, my sources are telling me this is not actually Palestine. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, you can tell by the... This is New York City, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. This is currently New York City. Things are wild. The current person running for mayor in New York City is a radical Islamist communist. Pretty interesting how that intersects. But this is where we're at. Now, this is not some sort of hostile takeover or anything. You could tell that this is, in fact, Palestine by the very tall buildings. So shit's crazy. So we're going to be talking today about Dearborn, Michigan, a place in Michigan that is currently completely been taken over by Islam, which is pretty interesting because, you know, it's in America. They are actually kicking Christians out of Michigan. Now, you probably think that's stupid. There's no way this would happen. This is the United States of A. It was founded by Christians. There's no way Christians are getting kicked out of Michigan. Well, there are certain radicals that are taking places in government, and I think it is relatively important to be aware. This is at Trump Tower in New York City. There is some stuff going on. I do believe, personally, that most of these people are not radical. Most of these people are just moderates. Someone in my chat said something pretty scary. The moderates are the grass. The radicals are the snake that are hidden by the grass. And I don't know, there's something to it, I guess. There are people that are coming in here with the stated goal of destruction of the West. You know, so realistically, this is a guy that was at the UN. He received a standing ovation at the UN. He just spoke last week, 3 days ago, I believe. This is Golani. He has been beheading Christians, Yazidis, Druze, Alawites, and Kurds, different minority groups in Syria. No one walked out. No one walked out of his speech. All right, none of that happened. He got a standing ovation accepted by the United Nations. He is an ex-ISIS terrorist. He is currently orchestrating a genocide of Christians in Syria. Currently. And when I say genocide, I mean, you know, the definition of what the word genocide means, which is not exactly how it's used these days. Oh my God, there's literally a trans genocide going on because people with penises have to use the men's bathroom. No, we're not doing the bullshit genocide. All right, so this dude overthrew the Assad regime in Syria, took over, started murdering all of his opposition, and now he's in charge of Syria, and he's been giving a seat in the UN. Now, the UN is a 50% Muslim organization. If you want to actually look it up, you can. It is 50% Muslim, which definitely makes it clear why they have never, ever actually gotten together to discuss the situation in Syria, where they're literally currently executing Christians and Druze. Oh, it's not 50%, it's 49% Muslim, my bad. Because they don't care. They only care about two things: Israel and the USA. These are the only two things that the UN cares about. Someone like Golani gets a standing ovation at the place. Now, Bill Maher, he's a libtard, all right? He's a libtard extraordinaire. But he's been kind of based and crashing out lately at a certain interesting situation going on in Nigeria.
I mean, the fact that this issue has not gotten on people's radar.
Right.
To be clear, I bet you none of you heard of what's going on in Nigeria. For the record, I'm sure none of you knew what's going on. I did. I'm sure most of you did not even know this was a thing. But lock in.
No one's talking about it.
It's pretty amazing. If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria, your media sources suck.
Yep.
You are in a bubble. And again, I'm not a Christian, but they are systematically killing the Christians in Nigeria. They've killed over 100,000 since 2009. They've burned 18,000 churches. This is so much more. These are their Islamists, Boko Haram. This is so much more of a genocide attempt than what is going on in Gaza. They are literally attempting to wipe out the Christian population of an entire country. Where are the kids protesting this?
Thank you.
Wow, it's almost like it's all funded, orchestrated, and organized because the entire goal is to wipe out the West. It's almost like that is literally the plan. By the way, for the record, 100,000, that is double the amount of casualties in Gaza. And also, the Christians in Nigeria didn't start a war. Also, the Christians in Nigeria are not a terrorist organization that's holding Nigerian hostages. They're just straight up going and murdering people because they want to eliminate Christians. Now, if you actually look at the statistics, the actual geographical stats around the world, essentially, there were a lot of majority Christian nations that are no longer majority Christian, like Egypt, like Libya, like Syria, like Iran. These used to be majority Christian nations, and they're not anymore for some interesting reason that I personally cannot put my finger on. I can't figure it out. I'm sensing some Islamophobia in my chat, so I can't figure out exactly what's going on. All right, listen, I don't know. So anyway, what's currently going on, because I'm sure you were curious, is this is the anonymous Druze territory. Druze. This is a small minority of people that live in Syria. It's Druze and Christians that live here. Israel is currently fighting back against Syrian forces trying to massacre Druze and Christians. Of course, no one cares. This is not something that people are talking about. This doesn't even matter up to the people because, again, there's no agenda to push. Why would we condemn this when we can condemn other things? This is a recent video posted from the Muslim Brotherhood. They're currently in talks in the United States whether they want to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, but this is what they had to say.
Muslim Brotherhood.
I find that there are only two things which are open to our movements: ballot or bullet, nothing in between.
I used to say that democracy is haram. Now I say participation in democracy is our jihad. That's our jihad. We're going to fight not through the bullets, but the ballot.
Going to the ballot and voting is now an obligatory action, fard ayn. And it is a jihad that is now needs to be done because this is our modern jihad. You can elect a person who wants the Sharia.
Because in the United States, what we do know is that in the past election, just this last election, there have been over 800 Muslim candidates running for office.
We may end up with about 50 members of Congress in the next 6 years. That's really the essence of dismantling the system of injustice.
In other words, the West.
Is to replace it.
In other words, the West.
With the people who represent the Prophet ﷺ.
Right, of course. Obviously, of course. Inshallah, as they say in England. So, that's where we're at right now, all right? It's very obvious and clear that the Muslim Brotherhood is intending to conquer Western civilization either through the ballot or through the bullet. That is exactly what they're doing. There is no two ways about it, and that's what's happening in Michigan now. Charlie Kirk once said that Islam is not compatible with Western civilization. Charlie Kirk once said, Islam is the sword the left is using to slit the throat of America. Dude, I miss Charlie Kirk immensely, but I'm just saying he might have he might have been cooking. He might have been onto something. Look, I'm not trying to be controversial here or anything. He might have been onto something. What can I say? The late and great Charlie Kirk has been kind of cooking. So he had a pretty fiery speech here. I wanted to see what the man had to say.
The question is macro Islam compatible with Western values?
Now, to be clear, macro Islam does not mean one Muslim guy that's, trying his best to assimilate. That's not what it means. It means as a movement coming in to conquer the West. All right? Like, let's be honest, because that's kind of what's happening.
Macro. Of course it's not. There are three major reasons why. Islam does not believe in freedom of speech. True. Islam does not believe in...
The irony is, this is the craziest part. The irony is, the UN is comprised of 49% Muslim countries that do not believe in democracy, do not believe in free speech. But in the UN, they vote. It's like, all right, dude, let's be real. Like, this is insane.
Freedom of religion, and Islam does not believe in separation of mosque and state. Those three things are antithetical to the West. In a Muslim-majority country, most Muslim-majority countries, you cannot criticize the Prophet Muhammad. In most Muslim-majority countries, you do not have the same robust freedom of religion protections. And finally, whereas we in the West are very careful to try to intermix religion and state, they are commanded to actually go into the state and try to change the state to be more Islamic around the core pillars of Islam. And the last thing I'll finally say is, I cannot see a single Western country that has become more Islamic and has become a better place to live that is happier or freer.
Yeah. By what metric? Just happiness, quality of life?
Everything, from quality of life, from culture.
What metric? Well, not the, little girls getting raped metric. That metric obviously has not been too good.
Cohesion. From whether people want to live there, prior to the native-born fertility rates.
Again, people watching this will say is your criticism of the religion itself or not Muslim people? Because there are British Muslims who have been born here.
You don't have to caveat it all the time. I know you guys have to.
Everyone, they play the game every time, right? You don't want to look like a racist and stuff. And I'll make the caveat, okay? All right, I'll make the caveat. The caveat is radical Islamism is antithetical to the West. Now, you can define radical however you want, but that's where we're at.
Because you're British and all that.
Yeah, right, he's British. He can go to jail if he criticizes it. Oh, no.
Culture ceases to exist when we don't have unified language. When you cannot talk to your neighbor. Yeah, I'm not discounting that there are good individual Muslims.
Of course.
The question that we need to reckon with the West is Mohammedanism compatible with the teachings of Blackstone? Is it compatible with the legacy of Wilberforce?
All right.
And the great thinkers that have come from this country? And I will say, no, there's a reason why when you go to these Islamic countries, that you're not going to see the equal protection of rights, that you do not believe in universal human equality.
What do you mean? Why are they all leaving? Why are they all leaving, guys? It's pretty weird. They're all leaving. God, for some reason, they're coming here. They're coming here for some reason. For some reason, they don't like it there for some reason. And then they turned this place into that place. Kind of weird. Anyway, let's not ask questions, all right? Dude, I miss Charlie Kirk so much. I really miss him immensely. It's absolutely insane. I really miss this man. And obviously, we all know who the major cheerleaders for Charlie Kirk's murder was. It was leftists, and it was also Muslims, because he was very anti-Islam. So this is Mehdi Hassan. He is a Islamic terror supporter. This is him constantly. He has like 1,000 tweets justifying the murder of Charlie Kirk. Here's one of them. The clips are endless. In other words, super justified that this dude was killed. And yet you have Republicans and some liberals saying endlessly that Charlie Kirk was civil. He was. And never name-called or insulted anyone. By the way, notice how Kirk supporters never share any clips from his shows. Now you know why. All right, so now I'm going to be sharing this clip. All right, this is the clip he wanted me to share. So I'm going to share the clip that he wanted me to share. Okay? Let's make this clear. The reason why I'm sharing this is because I was asked to share it by you.
Surgeon and flight are the top two, where it's like no one really cares when it's HR managers. No one cared when it was, just kind of paper shufflers or even engineers. But now when it's like, wait, hold on a second. You're going to remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian.
Yeah. Well, you bring these up.
I say this all.
The context is black lesbians are getting jobs not necessarily because they're qualified, but because they check boxes. That's DEI hiring practices. Him criticizing DEI hiring practices is basically saying that the bar for entry is much lower if you're a black lesbian than if you're a white man. He's completely correct. He's 0 lies detected, 1,000% accuracy. No lies, he's completely right. Abso-fucking-lutely. So Mehdi Hassan clips this out of context to remove the context that he's referring to people that are getting positions not based on skill. So he takes this out of context to make it look like he's just saying black lesbians are inferior, to basically point him out as like he's inferior. Straight up lies. I mean, to be fair, the Quran says that you are allowed to lie to non-Muslims, so you are following your moral code, not judging you, but this is a straight up lie to justify the murder of an innocent man. All right, and it's insane. Now, this is the same Mehdi Hassan that said, "Make American planes crash again." Wonder what that's supposed to fucking mean. He deleted this tweet, so no one actually understands this one. This one's a difficult one to understand. So Mehdi Hassan made this tweet yesterday, and I just replied to it because I just saw it on the timeline. I just thought it was absolutely hilarious. So the FBI fired agents photographed kneeling during a 2020 racial justice protest following the death of George Floyd. Those people aren't allies of the American people. They're allies of the cult. And this guy decided to say, if you're anti-racism, you get fired from the FBI. If you're pro-racism, you get to stay. Once again, a lie. This is not at all what's being said here, but that's the only thing they can do. They can only lie. And to be fair, in defense of Hassan, the Quran permits him to lie to non-Muslims. So his moral code is intact. So, Mr. Anti-Racism over here has documented history calling non-Muslims cattle, which is why I bring this up. Obviously, I am not trying to be controversial or anything, but this is that same Mehdi Hassan guy. Same guy, very large leftist commentator. He's been on Jubilee. He's on Piers Morgan. He's everywhere. He's fucking everywhere. This is what he has to say.
Different from the rest of the non-Muslims, from the rest of those human beings who live their lives as animals.
The difference between Muslims and the non-Muslims who live their lives as animals.
Any rule to fulfill any desire.
Non-Muslims, they just fulfill any desire they want, unlike Muslims. So anyway, I'm not exactly going to take this dude at super fucking face value. For full transparency, he has made a somewhat apology post where he never actually apologized for saying these things because he doesn't believe them. He apologizes that he said it and it was recorded and published. He says, I look back at this and I cringe. That was his apology. Because he regrets that his true feelings were actually shown to people, in my opinion. Unless I hear him disavow this, I'm not going to believe he actually doesn't believe it. So again, this is one of the large, anti-Charlie Kirk voices that kind of justifies his murder. And of course, he is someone that is not talking about this situation at all, right? He attacks Trump constantly. Freedom of speech, freedom of speech. Hassan Piker, Mehdi Hassan, Cenk Uygur, they all have the same fucking strategy that they're implementing. Every single one of them are pushing the same shit. All of them. They're all pro-terrorist, anti-American in every fiber of their being. And none of them have anything to say about this. Dearborn mayor refuses to apologize for telling Christian minister he was not welcomed here, referring to the entire city of Dearborn. To be clear. Right, Mehdi Hassan, Hassan Piker, they're all justifying, the October 7th massacre. They'll all justify that shit Absolutely, every single one of them. They have no problem calling Charlie Kirk a Nazi while his body was still warm. No issue with that shit. Nope, that's fine. That's where we're at. All right, so to be clear, this is a current protest that's going on in England. These are Islamists in the UK, took to the streets opposing Starmer's decision to recognize Palestine. What do you mean? I thought they wanted him to recognize Palestine. Oh, because it didn't also eliminate Israel. Right, so before they wanted a two-state solution, and then Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of England, said he will recognize Palestine as a state, and now they want one state, only a Palestinian state. That's where we're up to. So, realistically, I don't want any violence here. I just want people to know what's going on. Dearbornistan's Islamist mayor has not been denounced by any major Democrat, or by virtually any Republicans, and by none of the anti-Semite podcasters and their ilk, as he fumed that a Christian minister he is not welcomed here. So I ask you, if someone thinks, all right, if you get someone that's like, make you believe they're America first, but they don't mind that this shit is happening, perhaps their motives are a little suspicious. This is where we're up to. This is where we're at in society, where Democrats refuse to mention this. Obviously, the Islamists refuse to mention this.
While editing, there was a shooting at a church in Michigan. Please pray for the victims. Remember, guys, it's both sides.
And ladies and gentlemen, Matt Walsh just made a video on it. So let's lock in. Let's see how bad it actually is.
We are allowed to take...
Oh, by the way, I'm sure that this video is going to get me even more death threats. These are where I get most of my death threats. What I have to say to that is, I will pick up Charlie Kirk's bloody microphone, and I urge every single one of you, if you're brave enough, to do the same. No one could fill his shoes. We all have to fill his shoes. They killed an innocent man for saying things they don't like. The things must continue to be said. Sorry, that's what we're doing.
We are allowed to take control of our own country. We're allowed to say, no, you're not going to Islamicize our cities. No, you're not going to do that. This is America. Okay, I want to actually go back to Dearborn for a moment.
All right, let's go.
Because as we talked about Dearborn a little bit on the show recently, and I've been aware of the Islamicization of Dearborn.
This is a city, by the way.
I hadn't really looked into it that deeply, but the more you look into it, and the more research you do about what's happening in Dearborn, it is insane. I mean, it is mind-blowing. I think people don't realize, however bad you think it is, it's so much worse.
Oh shit. I didn't do it.
And if you live there, you know this, but for people that don't live there, you might not understand just how bad it is. That Dearborn has essentially become an Arab state. It's a Middle Eastern Islamic capital right in the middle of the American heartland. And for some reason, we've allowed that to happen. We don't have to allow it. We don't have to allow that, actually.
They'll call you a bigot. They'll call you a fascist. Bro, these words don't work anymore. The words do not work. Your titles mean nothing. I'm sorry. Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
We are allowed to not allow that. But we did. And now the people of the city, along with, here's the latest thing, along with all the other problems with living in a Middle Eastern Islamic capital.
Like what?
The latest, and this is just from...
You mean like the whole chopping the hands off women that accidentally go with their hair uncovered, or giving public lashes to women because they don't refuse to get married to a 70-year-old man? What, like stuff like that, for example, hypothetically?
This week, the people of the city find themselves woken up at 5 a.m. by the Muslim call to...
Oh my God, there's no way they're blasting that in Dearborn, Michigan, bro. No, that's crazy. That's first of all illegal. Wait, hold up. That's actually illegal. That's disturbing the peace. You're not allowed to do that.
Prayer. Watch this.
But the mosques in East Dearborn are now at times waking us up at 5:30 in the morning.
You see, the funny thing is, this lady, I bet you any money, she voted Democrat her whole life. She voted blue. She voted to let people in. She probably celebrated the erection of mosques in her city. And then she's like, wait a second. They don't care about me? Wait, what? What? I am personally appalled. The gays for Gaza cannot understand, but the Gazans don't like the gays. They don't get it. They were like, but I thought for sure if I raised your flag in America, you would have butt sex with me. And then they threw him off a building. Oh, well.
With the call to prayer.
This is Dearborn resident Andrea Unger at last night's city council meeting stating that mosques using outdoor loudspeakers for their call to prayer should not be allowed. And says she believes it's not supposed to be allowed per city ordinance.
The noise complaints have been made out and the police have made numerous visits. What is the next?
She suicide empathied herself. I sit here with tears in my eyes for the suicidal empathy of this bitch. Could you sense sarcasm? I'm just saying. Sarcasm is being sensed by some people in my chat. You did this to yourself, lady. You did this with your feminism and with your very dusty vagina. Yeah, sorry, I don't want to be rude here, but again, I'm not saying it's her. Statistically, this is your fault.
There was some question whether or not any outdoor loudspeakers are allowed, something that was not clarified, only that more evidence is being...
Right, we got to hear what Kamal El Amwafski has to say. I feel like we need to hear what Mustafa A. Mahmoud has to say about this. All right, I personally want to know what Robert A. Abhasham has to say. I think that these people's insights are definitely going to be pivotal to this matter, because my guess is they're going to actually support the law.
Gathered, but CBS Detroit did examine Dearborn's noise ordinance and found that loudspeakers between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. are in violation of the ordinance.
So that is the sound you get to hear if you live in a city in Michigan.
Yeah.
That's the sound.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this on X and somebody said...
Again, for the record, freedom of religion does not mean freedom to wake you in the morning at 5 o'clock because my religion dictates you must be woken at 5 o'clock. Just to be clear, freedom of religion doesn't mean freedom of forcing people around them to cover their hair or they get their hands chopped off. That is not part of this, okay? All right, just to be clear.
But I saw a few comments that said, well, how...
Who allowed this? What are you talking about? The duly elected government of Dearborn, which is a Muslim government. What do you mean? You fool! You think that the wokies in Dearborn would be Islamophobic and not vote for them just because they want to institute Islamic prayers at 5 in the morning? You absolute buffoons!
You know, what about church? What about church bell? You got a problem with that, with the Muslim call to prayer over the loudspeaker? But what about church bells? You got an issue with...
Who voted for the unfettered immigration? Someone in my chat said it's immigration's fault. Who voted for that? It's the feminists. It's always the feminists. I'm telling you, man. Downfall of Western civilization is feminization of civilization. It's the same thing. The overlap is 1-to-1. It's every time, okay? I'm telling you, man. The Western civilization has been infected and become a feminized culture. I'll be real. That's where we at. I'm not trying to be rude. That is the problem, okay? And the moment people recognize it, and it's not just women, for the record. This isn't just like a women bad thing. A lot of men have become cucked too. All right, it says the feminization of men, and, you know, it's the girl bosses, bro. That's where we're at. And that shit's cancer. Absolutely.
What's the difference? Well, I'll tell you the difference. Number one.
Personally, I think it comes from, like a turn the other cheek mentality. That, you know, is very good in basics, but in practice, unfortunately, lets people get away with crazy shit. I really think so. I think sometimes you can't turn the other cheek. Maybe that's me speaking from my Jewish perspective. Turn the other cheek is a lot more of a Christian ideology. But realistically, sometimes you gotta fucking bitch slap some bitches. Yeah, I'm just saying. Western culture is dying because of this shit. They are. And these people are not assimilating, obviously.
One, church bells are much more beautiful. Number two, church bells don't ring at...
Also not the point. It doesn't matter how beautiful it is.
5 in the morning.
Yeah, it's the whole 5 in the morning, you know, sound pollution that's annoying.
And number three, America is a Christian country, okay? At its core, at its root, philosophically, historically, America is a Christian country. And so there is a distinct difference between being in being in an American city and hearing a church bell is normal. It's good. It's traditional. It's what you expect.
Maybe not at 5 o'clock in the morning, but yeah. Also, church bells are not nearly as loud, okay? I've heard church bells. I've heard the mosque call to prayers. I've heard both. They're not even remotely the same. The church bells are, you know, ding, 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 or whatever, or bong, 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 bong on the hour. Like, they're not intrusive at all. In fact, you can easily sleep through them. All right, even if you're tired and you're sleeping, you sleep through church bells. You really do. You don't sleep through the mosque call to prayers because the point of the sound is to be intrusive. It is a call to prayer. They are calling you. They are doing it to wake you. That is literally the point.
That sound over a...
And by the way, if you go to a Muslim country, that's what you should expect to hear because that's their country. Of course, they should do that.
Loudspeaker coming from a mosque is not normal. It's not traditional. It's not American. It's just not. And now the city council...
They're going to call him Islamophobic for being against waking people at 5 in the morning.
The president apparently conceded that the call to prayer, you know, is the level that it's being blasted over a loudspeaker is a violation of noise ordinances in the city, in particular doing it at 5 in the morning. But so far as I know, nothing's been done about it. They're just kind of shrugging it off. And there's
the entire council was elected by feelings and vibes.
no surprise about it. No surprise about that. Remember, we just talked about a guy showed up at a council meeting to object to the fact that they're renaming streets after, some
true,
Muslim guy.
A terrorist. Not just a Muslim guy. They were renaming a street after a Hezbollah terrorist. A guy that, well, for the record, Hezbollah has murdered 241 American Marines, all right, in one day. All right, these people, they should not be celebrated in the United States, to be honest. They should not be celebrated anywhere if you have basic values. But yeah.
Mayor Abdullah Hamid.
Hey, Abdullah Hamid could be a white guy. We don't know.
Yelled at the guy for complaining.
Not just a guy, a Christian minister.
And told him he's not welcome in Dearborn. So that's how things are going in.
Kicked him out of the city because he was against the idea of naming a street name after a terrorist. Does that make any sense to you? Hey, bro, you don't have to. Why are we living like this, man? Why are we living like this? Hey, guys, welcome to Israel. I decided that we're going to name this street in Jerusalem Joseph Goebbels Street. Absolutely. Any problem with that? Leave the city.
In Dearborn. Now, here's an update on that story from the New York Post. There is an update on that. At Dearborn, Michigan's first city council meeting since his clash with a local Christian minister went viral after a heated exchange over a controversy I
have to show you the clip. The clip is even worse, man. The clip is so much worse than just the way you're hearing it. This dude spat at him with venom. How dare you insult this glorious fucking terrorist guy? He's a terrorist. How dare you? How dare you? Dearborn. Oh my god. Someone took a video of the calls to prayer in Dearborn. I can't believe this is happening in America. Dude, I've heard this in Jerusalem, man. I've heard this when I, visiting Israel. No way, bro. This is crazy, dude. Holy shit. There's no way. Wow, that is very loud. Dude, at 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, here's the clip of the minister, in case you were curious.
Bombed the embassy in Beirut, and
he's like, yo, this guy, they bombed an embassy in Beirut, guys. We should not be celebrating this, right?
including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
241 Americans. They wanted to name a street sign after this guy.
You're an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor.
Every time, every fucking time. They're the victims. They're the victims. This guy, the mayor of a city that he came to, that was handed to him on a silver platter, the victim. The victim, once again.
You're not
just like the poor terrorist that murdered 241 Americans.
Welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city. Because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
Hezbollah.
He's like, yo, why are you celebrating a Hezbollah terrorist? You don't believe in coexistence? You are a terrorist yourself. You hate Islam. You are an Islamophobe. You're not welcome to the city. I just saw this now while looking up the clip. Breaking news, a Dearborn resident has been sentenced to 34 months in federal prison for threatening Jewish preschoolers. Preschoolers! Outside of a synagogue! And attempting to illegally purchase firearms. Hassan Choker, probably a white guy, directed anti-Semitic slurs at children entering a preschool. He then later visited a gun shop where he was handed a shotgun, rifle, and pistol, claiming he would use them for God's wrath. As a convicted felon, he lied in a background test. He ultimately was denied the purchase of the firearms after the background check. During his arraignment, he cursed out the judge, calling her a Zionist bitch. This guy, surprisingly, is a guy in Dearborn, Michigan. This is crazy, man. This is fucking wild, dude. What's going on over there? Holy shit.
Controversial honorary street sign naming Mayor Abdullah Hamid declined to apologize for his saying the minister was not welcome here and that he would
also called him an Islamophobe, obviously.
Launch a parade when he left town. It's kind of a rough paragraph. That was not a well-written, and also I just can't read. So we got, speaking of low IQ, we got two problems. We have two problems colliding right now. Anyway, Ted Barham, the same Christian minister, opened his remarks at Tuesday meeting by repeating the words that went viral at the previous one on September 9th. Barham said, "The mayor, in a way, cursed me, as was seen around the world, and I would like to repeat what I said that day to you, Mr. Mayor. God bless you."
Yeah.
Barham said he had no plans to file a lawsuit despite pressure from supporters. People have been saying I should do that all over the world. I have no intention of doing that, of filing a lawsuit. Instead, he urged the council to consider his larger message. Bless those who curse you. Love your haters. And I would say that in regard to Hezbollah as well. I would say that in regard to Mr.
Yeah, I would say I pray for the people of Hezbollah. I also think that they need to be obliterated. I'm a very simple man. A man of justice, some would even say.
Golani. And I would say to Israel too. Love your haters.
True.
Okay.
And also, if they're terrorists, obliterate them. Yeah, I'm really on this page. I'm absolutely on this page. I'm like, yeah, for sure. Yep, we there.
And somebody else got up. We love you with the love of Christ. We want the blessings of God to be in your life. It's not a matter of
nice responses. Like, these people are all so nice. Oh my God.
And then this was someone else speaking and said, do you definitively, but asked the mayor, do you definitively, unequivocally, by name, denounce Hamas and Hezbollah, or do you support them? So,
ooh, good question.
The Christian citizens.
You know, American designated terrorist organizations that have both killed Americans? Yeah. Fuck that shit.
In the city are being very forgiving and nice about it, which.
Look, man, dude, I have so much respect for people that stand by their faith and by their values. Way too nice, man. Look, I personally have probably 90% overlap value-wise with, you know, Christian ethics. Personally, these people want to destroy you, okay? Didn't Jesus flip tables and whip money changers? Like, bro, these people want to destroy you, man. Turn the other cheek, the other butt cheek, and spank that shit raw. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I will pray for you as we kick you out of our country. Listen.
Is unfortunate and inappropriate, actually, and shameful. There is nothing in the Christian faith that requires you to be a pushover.
Agreed.
Quite the opposite.
I mean, what am I saying? I'm not like a huge Christian faith guy, but I do know that God demands justice, and he does it every single time. When they invade, you destroy them. Sorry, legally. You legally destroy them without violence. And we pray for them while we destroy them.
The Christian faith is a warrior faith. Put on the armor of God.
Straight facts.
It's a warrior faith. And that does not mean that we be pushovers. There is nothing that requires you to be a...
And the West has been mega feminized. All right, dude. I feel like the West has spent years losing its teeth, one by one.
Weak, limp-wristed wimp. And this is what I wish Christians in this country would understand. And so many do not. After years of going to these effeminate liberal churches.
That's what I'm thinking about.
And they hear things like turn the other cheek. Okay, turn the other cheek, okay, was not an invitation or a command for you to be a wuss.
True.
It's not an excuse to be a coward. And turn the other cheek only ever applies to insults against you personally. That's the only time when we should ever be talking about turn the other cheek. It does not apply to offenses against your family, against your friends, against your country, against your faith. You should not be turning the other cheek in those cases. Turning the other cheek in those cases is not turning the other cheek, it's turning your back. Okay, Jesus said turn the other cheek. He didn't say turn your back on the people who you're supposed to be loyal to.
Makes sense.
On your principles, on your values, on your faith, on your family. Didn't say that.
He's spitting straight facts, all right? Turn the other cheek means become a better person, become a humble man, all right? Don't be offended by their words. It doesn't mean let them literally steamroll you and take over your nation, all right? Listen, look, Samuel 1:17-45, all right? When David fought Goliath, right? David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you onto our hands." And then, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the story, David killed Goliath. For those of you unfamiliar, he killed that dude in single combat. All right, with the help of the Lord. Don't get me wrong, Goliath is a fucking massive, hulking Gorlock. All right, and David was like this little guy with a slingshot, and he killed him. Even though Goliath was massive, he killed him in single combat. With the help of God, he fucking destroyed his enemy. And that's what it's all about, man. Sorry, dude. Sorry, man. Don't want to be cringe about it. Turn the other cheek means, again, I'm not Christian, so I don't want to intrude, because I hate when I have like hi, I'm an atheist. I'm going to tell you about what your faith actually means. All right, so I don't actually, I have zero interest in that shit. So I'm not telling anyone what to think here. But from my perspective, turn the other cheek is not an invitation to let people destroy you.
That's betrayal. And in this case, if you're a Christian in Dearborn, all of those things are under attack. Your country's under attack, your faith, your friends, your family are all being attacked and insulted and degraded. When he said, when the mayor of Dearborn said to that Christian pastor, "You're not welcome here," he wasn't, okay, it's fine if the pastor wants to say, well, I personally am not going to take offense to that.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great thing. Great attribute. Good man, honestly, probably.
Fine. He wasn't just talking to you, though, Pastor. He was talking to every Christian in your community.
Also true.
That's what he was saying. Okay, he was saying Christians are not welcome here. And so getting up there and just saying, well, God bless you, I love you, that's not a good enough response. It's not good enough. You should be righteously angry about it. And you should sue him.
I mean, I don't know how you can sue
That's
him.
justice.
I don't know what the law is exactly, but
That is you defending your faith, defending your country. It is an attack not just on you individually, but on your faith, your country, your family. So no, you don't just forgive him and move on. You should sue. You should fight back. He can't say that to you. He can't. The mayor of the town cannot get up there. You, as an American, as a American Christian citizen, how dare he? You get up there and say that like you don't want your street names named after this like Muslim guy, okay?
A terrorist, not a Muslim guy. All right, not a Muslim guy, bro. A terrorist, someone, a pro-Hezbollah terrorist, man.
This is not even putting aside he supports Hamas and Hezbollah. That is almost irrelevant.
I actually don't think so. I personally think it's very relevant. In my opinion, if you are an immigrant in this country and you are supporting a terrorist designated by this country, you should be deported immediately. There should be no discussion. Like, why is this not the most obvious thing? Like, dude, why are we bringing people into our country that want the downfall of our nation? Like, I really feel like it's pretty obvious, right? So, you know, we have a government. The government designates people as terrorists. You support the terrorists? Get the fuck out of here, man. Bro, I don't want Bin Laden Street in my neighborhood, to be honest. I don't. And I don't care how many leftists with empathy vote for it. I don't want that around, man.
Okay, what he's not an American hero. No, we're not going to have Omar Sablani Street in America. We're not going to have it. And you have every right to say that. And so how dare he stand up there and say you're not welcome here? He has no right to say that to you. As a public servant, he has no right to say that to you.
Of course not, obviously.
And so I really get tired of this kind of response.
Bro, mad!
You know, I'm going to be the bigger man. Oh, give me a break. At a certain point, like being the bigger man is not, at a certain point, you got to get down in the mud and have this fight, okay? At a certain point, you got to get down in the mud and have the fight. You know, September being National Preparedness Month got me thinking, what a perfect dollar isn't this?
Yeah, bro is mad.
I mean, they're letting him off the hook. So why would he apologize? I mean, when you get up there and say, I forgive you, God bless you, God bless you, but I'd like an apology, mister. Why would he apologize? You have no reason to apologize. Yeah, now, maybe if you got up there and say, you know.
I mean, because again, this is like the perpetual, I feel like a lot of these people have realistically taken very, very good notes and understand the weakness of a large portion of the American people. If you act like a pussy, they will think that you are a victim. And I really think that so many people are weaponizing this because Islam is not a cowardly religion at all. Right? These people are brave. You know, Muslims are brave fighters. They will kill themselves for their God, which is you know, in some ways a very, you know, powerful, respectable thing in some ways, I guess. But like, they know that this triggers the empathy of the retards in the West. They know that they could dance on the feelings of the empaths and the libtards and the leftist freaks by making believe that they are perpetual victims. And it works. It works, bro. This dude is the mayor. He is the mayor of the city. He kicked out a Christian and claimed that he was the victim because the other guy wronged him and assaulted him with Islamophobia. Like, and people are eating this up, man. Dude, by the way, Zoran Mamdani, the guy running for mayor in New York City, did the same thing. He went on the news, he started crying. Oh, all the Islamophobia and hate-filled attacks that I'm getting on social media. Please, dude. Dude, Hamas makes believe that they're victims. They started a war, and they're losing very badly. They refuse to surrender, and they make believe they're victims. Like, dude, this is insane.
What? You know what? I'm gonna sue you into the ground. How dare you speak to me that way? I'm an American citizen. You watch your mouth. You don't talk to me that way. I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue you into bankruptcy. Okay? I'm gonna haunt your dreams for the rest of your life. I'm gonna come after you. Now, if you say that, maybe you get an apology.
Yeah.
And then maybe after you get the apology, maybe you could drop the lawsuit. Maybe you could say, after you've gotten submission from this guy, he submitted to you.
Well, now he's just gonna double down.
And apologize.
Because you know what these people are thinking, man. You know what this guy's thinking. This guy's like, holy shit. What a pushover. What a pushover, guys. I should do this to more people. I just need to claim that you're Islamophobic and kick you out of the city, and they're just gonna literally fall for it. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
And groveled. That's what you should be saying. I want you better grovel, not to me, but to all the citizens of this community and this country and all the Christians that you just insulted. You better get down on your knees and grovel and apologize, or I'm going to sue you into the ground, you son of a... Okay? That is how you should respond. But you didn't. So instead he just ignored it. Back to the article. When Hamoud spoke later in the evening at the meeting, he did not answer the many calls for an apology. Instead, he said, Dearborn represents the best of America, where people of all backgrounds, of all faiths, and of all beliefs...
And they do this thing. They make believe that it's American. right? Having an Islamic city is the most American thing ever, they tell you, as they spit in your face. Because, of course, this is the most American thing. Because America's a place for everyone. We're all immigrants. It's a country built by immigrants, which it's not. It's built by settlers.
And live peacefully and respectfully as neighbors. Except you just told them to leave.
Peacefully and respectfully as neighbors, as they kick you out of their fucking city and they blast a prayer, call to prayers at 5 in the morning, right? Like, again, they will lie to you to your face. This is the whole left, by the way. This isn't like a this guy exclusive.
But he gets away with this.
Well, of course he gets away with it. He'll claim you're Islamophobic if you come after him.
And he talked about how we shouldn't be divisive and all this nonsense. With only 2 names on the ballot in the next mayor election, the clash over religious freedom and free speech sparked by Barham's remarks and the mayor's response may become the defining issue for voters.
All right, I guess we have to expect a lot more victim cards.
Yes, there is a mayoral election coming up in Dearborn. And by the way, the Republican challenging the incumbent, his name is Abdullah. Well, the incumbent, his name is Abdullah Hamoud.
Right.
The guy challenging him is Naji Almud Heji.
Bro.
And just so you know, just giving you a little, just to give you the lay of the land in Dearborn. The mayor, his chief of staff, Mayor Abdullah's chief of staff, is named Zainab A. Hussein. Right. The chief of police in Dearborn is Isa Shaheen.
Okay, cool.
And he oversees, of course, the department, and the biggest division is the patrol division, and the guy who's the commander of that is Madhu Bazi.
Nice.
Public health director in Dearborn is Ali Abazid. And there's also, of course, city council members Kamal Aswafi.
They're all Muslims until they get arrested, and if they get arrested, they are registered as white people. Get on track, guys. Get with the program, everybody. Get with the program.
And Mustafa Hamoud.
All right, this makes sense.
Again, just to remind you, this is a city in America. I am not reading from the organizational flowchart of a city in Saudi Arabia. This is the American Midwest.
Man,
this is the
they just took after the UK with this one.
American heartland, a place where you will now be woken up by the Muslim call to prayer at 5:30 in the morning.
Sounds like Matt Walsh here is not a big fan of Dearbornistan, and I can't figure out why. Ambiguous MAGA people are taking over, probably.
And then you can get in your car and drive to work down Osama Simblani Lane, to get to your job. The article, the post article we just read, says that this is an issue. This is a clash of religious freedom.
I personally think that this is a beautiful part of what it means to be in America. This is just what it means to be in America, guys. That's what it is. That's what it means. That's what it means to be in America. That's right. Where they can kick Christians out of cities if they're being Islamophobic.
But, on the religious freedom point, I agree with the writer Patrick Casey, who posted on X yesterday. He said this: freedom of religion was a noble thing when it encouraged brotherhood between Europeans who spent centuries slaughtering each other over religious differences in the old world. But combined with mass third world immigration, freedom of religion has yielded less noble fruit. Well, that is a very diplomatic and eloquent way of putting it.
Say it. Wow.
And the point is just irrefutable, really. Our founding fathers did not have this in mind. They did not have in mind that
freedom of religion means people in the country could, espouse their religious beliefs, whatever. But they're not allowed to violate the law, right? Religion, that's the separation of church and state. You can't say my religion dictates that I should be able to break the law. So, you can't be blasting music and kicking people out of cities and stuff like that. So, that's one very obvious difference. And another one is that doesn't mean you should allow anyone into your country, right? Not everyone should immediately be allowed into your country. Just because you have freedom of religion, that shouldn't mean you should invite people with religions that clash, per se. Not saying that they do, but I'm just saying that that is not what freedom of religion actually means.
Have American cities run by guys named Hamoud, okay? They just didn't. Who shout down Christian citizens and tell them they aren't welcome. Who name streets after Muslim, figures. Have the Muslim call to prayer blasting through the streets.
At 5 in the morning.
Where Muslim population outnumbers the American population. That was never the point. That was never intended. None of our founding fathers or anyone at that time who lived in America could have even conceived of something like this. It wasn't anywhere on their radar screen.
I think people weren't ready for the very successful ways that certain people would manipulate the actual laws and governing rules of the country to their own benefit to take it over. And I also think they didn't expect the people living in America would be such pushovers that they would just let themselves get conquered. But that's kind of where we're at right now. Thank you, empathy.
Do you know how many Muslims were in the country in 1791 when the Bill of Rights was ratified?
0.
You know how many?
0?
Like 0?
Oh, okay.
I mean, basically 0. There may have been a small number of Muslims who were here as slaves. If there were any Muslims, they would have been here as slaves. Although, by the way, we didn't have nearly as many Muslim slaves as the Muslims had Christian slaves through the Barbary slave trade at the same time. But anyway, the point is,
just remember, every black slave that was ever in America was sold to America by a black slaver. I'm just saying. But anywho, that's kind of where we're at right now. That's a lot of people think that, hey, this actually might be a bad thing. Yes.
there were basically no Muslims here at the time, certainly none that were participating in public life at all. So the guys who came up with the idea of religious freedom and codified it into law, they didn't have this in mind. Like that is not a debate. I mean, there's nothing to debate there. That's not, I don't need to speculate. It's just a fact. When they were talking about religious liberty, nobody was thinking about this. No one was thinking about what Dearborn is. That possibility, it would have seemed impossible that anything like that would ever happen.
I love how, like, the radical Islamists are like, hey, we would like to come into your nation and conquer it, please. And then the leftoid empaths are like, well, we would love it if you would come to our nation. We also want more rights for everyone. The unholy alliance, just people allying up with arch nemesis from the womb, arch nemesis, just because they want to destroy the West. That's the, stated goal here.
They just didn't have Islam in mind at all. They knew what Islam was, obviously. I mean, Thomas Jefferson was at war with Muslims. But, James Madison, when he wrote the First Amendment, this is not what he was thinking about. Religious freedom, as Patrick Casey said, what they were thinking about is peace and unity among the various Christian denominations. That's what the concept was meant for.
Yeah, probably.
This is why it's so hard for people these days to understand what was going on. And when we read founding documents and the letters and things that founding fathers were writing, what people don't get is that this was a conversation happening among Christians.
Dude is not happy.
And that was always just
One thing I gotta say about Matt Walsh, bro is picking up the bloody microphone. He really is. He is picking up Charlie Kirk's bloody microphone. I have nothing but respect for people that actually, because he's putting his life at risk here, People want him dead, right? He's on the hit lists the same way I am, and the same way everyone else is, and he puts himself out there a lot more.
Base level assumption is that these are, all of this, we're talking about Christians. And there just weren't anyone else here. No one else was here. The idea that Islamic migrants would be imported en masse was, again, not on the radar.
Dude, this whole importing migrants en masse thing that have the stated goal to destroy our civilization is completely and utterly retarded. Like, dude, the fact that, why are we even making believe that this isn't completely retarded?
Wasn't considered. What's happened in Dearborn, none of the founders of our country ever remotely considered that possibility, and if they had considered it, they would not have approved. Religious freedom was supposed to allow Christians to live peaceably among each other, and now it's being used as a cudgel against us, as a Trojan horse to turn our communities into Pakistan. We don't have to allow this. Our founding fathers certainly would not have allowed it. We should not allow it.
I don't know why we need to tolerate this. Again, we need to do something about these moderate leftists with their empathy and their bullshit. Like, we need to do something about this hyper-feminized culture and the way, honestly, the colleges and the school systems and the media is just constantly trying their best to, cuck men. And it's brutal. It's brutal, man. It's crazy. Like, these people are literally voting for their self-destruction.
This is our country. We are allowed to take control of our own country. We're allowed to say, no, you're not going to Islamicize our cities. No, you're not going to do that. This is America. That's the Middle East. We don't want America to be the Middle East. I think we're pretty well justified in not wanting that. I think we can look over there and say, you know what? We don't really want that. We don't want any part of that. We don't want any part of that at all. We're allowed to think that. We'd be crazy not to. And we're allowed to take steps to make sure that it happens. America is not a Muslim country. If it ever became a Muslim country, it would no longer be America. That doesn't mean that Muslims can't live here. That's not what anyone is saying. Yeah. What it does mean is that
it's not feminization, it's demon possession. Someone in my chat says, I think blaming things on demon possession somehow definitely takes onus out of the decisions made by people. So I want to, just my perspective on demon possession is the demon will whisper into your ear and convince you to do evil shit, but you are the one that pushes the button that does the evil shit. God gave you free will. And despite the fact that, Satan is going to convince you that good is bad and bad is good, you are the one that's making that conscious decision at the same time. So I'm more than happy to say you got some demon-possessed cringe, demon-possessed people out there. All right? But it's those people's decisions that got them there. So I am going to blame people on an individual level as well.
You need to assimilate into our culture rather than erasing our culture.
That's what immigration was always supposed to be. That is literally what immigration was always supposed to be. Immigration is bringing people into our nation for us, all right? Now, we can do it for them, but it has to be a benefit for us as well. If it's not a benefit for us, then we don't need them here, to be honest. And it's kind of crazy that we're doing this, man.
Planting it with yours. That's what it means, which is the same expectation that every other country on the planet has. It's certainly the expectation that every single Muslim country has for any of the people that they allow in, which aren't many. And you notice that
to be honest,
at this point, Muslims account for a huge disproportionate number of migrants generally, and especially ones coming from overseas.
Weird.
Most specifically, but they come here. You know, they don't. That's the weird thing is you have this mass Muslim immigration, and almost all of it comes here or to the UK, Western.
It's almost like there's a plan. Like, dude, everyone's not taking these people straight, like, at face value. Dude, the Muslim Brotherhood, all right, I'm not saying this is, like, the individual Muslim guy that moves. The Muslim Brotherhood's like, yo, we literally ballot or bullet. The goal is world domination. It says it in the Quran. It's in the religious text, right? The religious text says, conquer the world, okay? Now, that's what they're doing. Oh, God, what about... We can beat around the bush, man, but you can't hate on the reality here that that's exactly what's happening. Okay, and again, I don't think this is every individual Muslim, but that is definitely the goal of the stated goal of the Brotherhood and the radicals. Like, come on, dude. Like, oh my God, dude, it's not Islamophobic to look. Like, I'm just saying, I'm quoting the Quran. If it's Islamophobic to quote your holy book, then we have other questions to discuss.
Europe, they don't go to other Muslim countries.
Well,
that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is pretty weird.
One of the reasons for that is that these other Muslim countries are not, like, they're just not very welcoming of outsiders.
All right, we need Matt Walsh to wake up a little more, all right? Abolish the United Nations. Abolish the United Nations. That shit's a scam. All right, do it. Do it. Do it. America doesn't need to be part of it. America's funding that shit. Like, 90% of the United Nations funding comes from America. Why? Literally, why? Fuck that shit. Sorry, man. Sorry, dude.
And if they do bring you in, and that's to put it mildly, but if they do bring you in, yeah, you're going to assimilate to this is our country. This is our culture.
I agree completely.
We'll invite you in.
Anyone imported should assimilate. For sure, no doubt.
Maybe, if we do, you need to assimilate to us.
Yeah, if you refuse to assimilate, you should not be here. You should not be invited. And if you are not legal in the country, you should leave. And even if you are a legal immigrant, but you're not a citizen, if you refuse to assimilate, or you want the downfall of the West, you gotta go. You gotta go. Revoke the green cards, man. There's no reason why these people should be here if they want to destroy us. Sorry, hot take.
It's the same expectation you have if you let somebody into your house. Yeah. If you let them over for dinner.
Obviously.
You invite them over for dinner. The assumption is that, okay, this is my house. I'll let you in. I'll invite you in. These are my rules. I have my way of doing things. If you don't like it that way, then don't come.
True. But what if the stated goal of your guest is conquering your house? All right, have you considered that, Mr. Walsh?
This is the problem with the people, even conservatives, who still go around claiming that, America is an idea. It's just an idea. And when I ask, what is an American? They say, well, it's a citizen who believes in the Constitution and freedom and democracy. That's kind of the answer you get. Well, that can't be the answer. It can't be just that. Why? Well, because of Dearborn. Because a city in Michigan has been converted into an Islamic capital, and a city in Minnesota has been converted into Mogadishu, and many other cases just like it all across the country. These people who are doing this, they're legal citizens for the most part. The Somalis in Minnesota, the Muslims in Michigan, legal citizens. And also they will say, if you ask them, that they do love the Constitution, and they do love democracy, and they do love freedom.
Of course they'll say that. Now, they want Sharia law, which is inherently anti-democracy, anti-freedom, anti-constitution. So, their actions don't always align with their words. But hey, who are we to call them liars?
Who's to say they don't? I mean, all that stuff allowed them to come here and turn our communities into third world enclaves. So I'm sure they do love it. I believe them. So does that make them American? And that's just the end of the discussion? If the entire country resembles Dearborn, is America still America? I mean, that really is the question. And I'm not even saying necessarily that the entire country will resemble Dearborn in 50 years, although maybe it will.
Well,
or maybe it takes 75 years.
To be honest, we're at that turning point right now. This is the precipice of the next generation. We are fighting for our children. That's really what we're doing right now. And I wonder if we survive it. I think we will. I have faith. I have faith. Honestly, I have faith that God has plans for America. America is a wonderful country, and I think God is fighting on our behalf here. We just have to trust Him a little bit more. Look, call me an optimist, but I think the best way that we can fight against stuff like this is not on an individual level. It's not about suing the mayor of Dearborn, which don't get me wrong, you absolutely should. Don't get me wrong, why not? Noise complaint based as fuck. We need to bring God back to the people as much as we can, I think, because it's these biblical values that are kind of getting lost in the cracks of empaths and retards, and honestly, aggressors coming from other nations that are trying their best to subvert us and convince us of things that we don't believe in, honestly, right? The fact that people in America are protesting for Palestine is fucking insane. It's crazy. It's insane. Dude, like, what are we doing? No one cares about 100,000 Christians murdered in Nigeria, or 5.5 million Muslims killed in the Congo, or 600,000, people murdered in Syria, or 400,000 killed in Yemen. But for some reason, the foreign agitators want us to care specifically about that one thing. Because that one thing is anti-West. It's anti-Western civilization. And that's kind of where we're at. And people are falling through the cracks, honestly. It's because they have no belief system, in my opinion. They not everyone, and obviously this isn't going to be every atheist or every not religious person. I think, personally, I believe everyone's made in the image of God. I think everyone has an internal moral compass. But I think it's very easy to be manipulated if you don't actually have a text that you could rely on to steer you the right way, or, a faith in a higher power. So, I don't know. I think that we're killing ourselves, man. We really are. As a nation, we're killing ourselves. There are 1 million abortions a year in America. Like, dude, if that is not feeding the demons, empowering them to kill us, I don't know what is. So, anyway, I'm very excited to see the future. It's going to be exciting regardless, and I will be making content on whatever happens. Don't worry, I'm going to be here until someone kills me for it. I'm going to be here, but the question ultimately is, will we survive? And can we have as much faith in God as God has in us?
But this is the question that kind of, has you thinking about it makes the point, right? That if America did become Dearborn, and these are all legal citizens, and they all love the Constitution, is America still America? Obviously not. Obviously, that's not what America is supposed to be. And I get it. The whole America as an idea thing, I used to say that stuff too. I'll admit that. Go back 8 or 9 years, and you can hear me repeating the same kind of cringe nonsense. I think it's embarrassing now. But I did say it. I believed it at the time, but it isn't true. And I understand that it feels a bit jarring to give up on that line, to admit that America is more than an idea and more than just a geographic area and more than an economic zone. It's jarring because it brings with it all kinds of implications that you'd rather not have to deal with. But the implications are here, whether you want to deal with them or not. Just ask yourself and be honest. Look at Dearborn. Is that America? Is that what America is supposed to be? Is that what you want America to be?
Yeah, it's a good question.
If 100 more American cities turn into Dearborn, if 500, 1,000, is that okay? Is it okay with you? If you have children, do you want them to grow up in Dearborn? No.
Yeah, well...
No, you don't.
I mean, ultimately, that's kind of the point. That's the point. I don't know. I think America is a nation. I think America is a people. I think it's a people that was founded on, biblical, primarily Christian values, and it's slowly and surely getting eroded by the forces of evil. All right, it really is a battle between good and evil at this point, and I have faith in the good. I have faith in the good. Deuce vault, as God wills. That doesn't mean that we sit idly by and let God destroy our enemies. King David picked up a slingshot. God guided the rock to kill Goliath, but David picked up the slingshot. Stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.